Most men think attraction is about pickup lines and tactics. But what if everything you've learned about attracting women was actually working against you? I once coached a client who spent years memorizing perfect openers, only to realize women could sense his insincerity immediately. His transformation began with one simple principle: authenticity. What if the ancient Stoics already solved the attraction puzzle thousands of years ago? In this video, I'll show you 19 Stoic principles that create genuine attraction. These timeless approaches build real confidence and authentic connections with women who value substance, the kind of connections that last beyond the first impression. The dichotomy of control in dating. The first problem I see with most men trying to attract women is their focus on the wrong things. They obsess over her response, whether she seems interested, if she'll give them her number, or how quickly she texts back. These are all outcomes they can't control. This is where Stoicism offers a powerful perspective shift. The ancient Stoics taught something called the dichotomy of control, a simple but profound idea that some things are within our control and others aren't. The only things truly in your control are your character, your intentions, and your actions. Everything else, including how a woman responds to you, isn't. Consider this scenario. You see someone attractive across the room. Most men immediately think, how do I get her number? But a Stoic approach asks, how can I present my authentic self in this interaction? This fundamental difference changes everything about your energy and approach. Think about the last time you approached a woman you were interested in. Were you focused on getting a specific outcome, like her number or a date? Or were you focused on bringing your best self to that interaction? Most men are completely outcome-focused, which creates a nervous energy women can sense immediately. Next time you're about to approach someone you're interested in, ask yourself, am I focusing on outcomes I can't control, or on being the best version of myself? This simple question transforms how you come across. Most modern dating advice encourages manipulation because it promises control over outcomes. Say this line and she'll give you her number. But this promised control is an illusion. You cannot control another person's feelings or response. Instead of approaching with the goal of getting her number, focus on having a genuine conversation and presenting your authentic self. That's it. Whether she responds positively remains outside your control. This mindset shift removes the desperate energy that often repels women. When you're not trying to control the outcome, you stop giving off that vibe of neediness that women can detect instantly. There's another benefit. When you focus only on what you can control, rejection loses its power over you. If you brought your best self to an interaction, her response doesn't define your worth or success. Your conversations become more natural because you're present, engaged, and authentic. You listen better because you're not frantically planning your next line. You respond genuinely because you're not filtering everything through the lens of will this help me get a date. Here's the paradox. When you let go of controlling her response, you become more attractive. Women sense you're grounded rather than seeking approval. This quiet confidence is magnetic in a way manipulation tactics never will be. This principle extends throughout the entire dating process. Focus on bringing your best self rather than controlling her feelings. Be honest, engaged, and true to your values. Treat her with respect and genuine interest. By focusing solely on what you can control, you improve the likelihood of favorable outcomes while making yourself immune to unfavorable ones. Your peace of mind no longer depends on her response. Virtuous intent. Approaching with integrity. Most dating advice you'll find online teaches men to use indirect approaches. They tell you to hide your intentions, use misleading conversation starters, or create false scarcity to appear more valuable. This advice might help you get phone numbers, but it creates connections built on shaky foundations. Stoicism offers a more authentic approach grounded in virtue. The Stoic philosophy emphasizes honesty, courage, justice, and moderation as the foundation for a good life. Unlike tactical dating advice that separates intentions from actions, Stoicism integrates philosophical principles into everyday interactions, including how you approach women. Approaching with virtuous intent means being honest about your interest without expecting anything in return. Your actions stem from integrity, rather than manipulation. When you approach a woman with virtuous intent, you express genuine interest in her as a person, rather than viewing her as a conquest or challenge to overcome. This doesn't mean awkwardly announcing your intentions with something like, "Hello, I find you attractive and would like to pursue a romantic connection." Having virtuous intent simply means aligning your actions with your words, being genuine about who you are and why you're starting a conversation. Consider this scenario. You notice a woman at a bookstore browsing a section you're familiar with. Instead of using a rehearsed line about how her choice in books reveals something about her personality, a common indirect tactic, you might say, "Hi, I noticed you're looking at historical fiction. I enjoyed that author's last book. I'm Michael, by the way." This approach is honest, contextual, and gives her space to engage naturally. Women have developed incredible intuition for detecting when a man's approach lacks integrity. They've experienced countless men with hidden agendas, men who say one thing but clearly want another, men who use rehearsed lines they've used on dozens of others. This has given most women a finely tuned radar for inauthentic approaches. By approaching with virtuous intent, you immediately distinguish yourself from men who rely on tactics and games. You build trust from the beginning when your words match your actions, and your intentions are transparent, creating a foundation for authentic connection. Even if she's not interested, you maintain your integrity and self-respect, something no rejection can diminish. When your approach comes from virtue, rejection doesn't diminish you because your worth wasn't dependent on her response. Your worth comes from your character and integrity. Before approaching a woman, ask yourself, would I respect someone who approached a woman the way I'm about to? This question brings you back to your own values. If your intended approach doesn't align with how you'd want someone to approach your sister or friend, it probably lacks virtue. Approaching with virtuous intent is both ethically sound and pragmatically effective. Women are drawn to authenticity in a world full of games and manipulation. By bringing integrity to your first interaction, you establish the foundation for something genuine rather than something based on tactic. Memento Mori. Creating genuine presence. The Stoics practice something called memento mori. Remember that you must die. This isn't meant to be morbid, but a powerful reminder that life is fleeting. This awareness completely transforms how you approach dating and interact with women. Think about the last conversation you had with a woman you were attracted to. Where was your mind? Most men aren't actually present during these interactions. They're thinking about what to say next, worrying about making a good impression, or anxiously wondering if she's going to reject them. Their bodies are there, but their minds are elsewhere, usually stuck in anxiety about the future or regrets about the past. Imagine watching a beautiful film while constantly checking your phone. You miss the subtle expressions, the emotional beats, the visual poetry, essentially experiencing only fragments of something meant to be whole. This is exactly what happens in conversations when you're mentally elsewhere. Memento Mori transforms dating by creating an urgency to be fully present. When you internalize that life is short, you realize that wasting this moment on anxiety means sacrificing something precious that you'll never get back. The next time you're talking with a woman, notice if your mind starts to wander. Gently bring yourself back to the present moment. Feel your feet on the ground, the temperature of the air, the subtle sense around you. Listen to her words without planning your response. Look at her face, the way her eyes crinkle when she smiles, how she gestures when making a point, the cadence of her speech. See her as a human being sharing a fleeting moment with you. Before approaching someone or during a date, try this simple practice. Take a breath and ask yourself, am I fully here? This quick check-in pulls you out of your head and into the present experience. When you're truly present with a woman, you create a surprisingly rare experience. Most men she meets are distracted or clearly following some internal script rather than connecting with her. Your presence alone makes you stand out. This mindset eliminates the need for rehearsed lines. When you're fully present, you respond naturally to what's actually happening. Women can sense this authenticity immediately. According to dating coach Blaine Anderson, women are more attracted to a man's ability to be fully present than his looks, status, or wealth. Your attention is more valuable than your appearance or bank account. This aligns perfectly with the Stoic emphasis on focusing on what you can control, your own engagement. Memento Mori puts rejection in perspective. When you remember life's brevity, you ask yourself, is this rejection really worth fearing? The answer is clearly no. This presence creates a calm confidence that women find magnetic. You're simply experiencing the moment fully, accepting whatever unfolds. When you're not distracted by fears and strategies, you connect more authentically. You hear what she's actually saying rather than what you hope or fear she's saying. You respond to her genuine self, rather than your projection of who you think she is. Your full attention becomes one of the most attractive things you can offer. Remember, this moment will never come again. Are you fully here for premeditation? Malorum, preparing for rejection. The Stoics had a powerful practice called premeditation malorum, the premeditation of evils. This isn't about being negative, it's about mentally preparing for potential negative outcomes before they happen. When it comes to dating, this practice is incredibly valuable. Think about what happens in your body and mind when you approach a woman you're attracted to. For most men, there's an unconscious fear of rejection lurking beneath the surface. This fear affects everything: your body language, your tone of voice, what you say, and how you say it. It creates tension that women can sense immediately. The Stoic solution is counterintuitive, but effective. Instead of trying to suppress this fear or pretend it doesn't exist, you deliberately visualize rejection beforehand. You accept it as a possible outcome. You might think this would make you more anxious, but the opposite happens. Here's a specific exercise to try before your next date. Find a quiet place and sit comfortably. Close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Now visualize the entire interaction, including a moment where she expresses disinterest. See yourself responding with a genuine smile, saying, "I appreciate your honesty. It was nice meeting you." Feel yourself standing tall, maintaining eye contact, and walking away with confidence. Notice how your body relaxes as you accept this outcome. Take one final deep breath and open your eyes. This mental preparation creates a noticeable calm confidence that women find genuinely attractive. By facing the possibility of rejection in your mind, the actual interaction carries less emotional weight. You're more relaxed, more yourself, and paradoxically, more attractive. This approach differs from positive thinking techniques that focus solely on successful outcomes. Those methods can leave you unprepared when things don't go as imagined. Premeditation malorum acknowledges reality while helping you maintain composure and self-respect. When rejection no longer feels threatening, you speak more authentically, rather than saying what you think she wants to hear. This genuine quality comes through in conversation, creating real connection rather than performed interest. Some worry this practice promotes negativity or pessimism. However, it actually fosters realism and emotional preparedness. There's strength in this grounded approach that artificial positivity cannot provide. Women notice when a man handles rejection gracefully. It signals emotional maturity and character strength. From her perspective, she's likely encountered men who responded to rejection poorly. When you accept her no with understanding and respect, you immediately stand apart. Through this preparation, you transform rejection from something feared into valuable information. If she's not interested, that feedback saves both of you time and energy. By removing the emotional sting through preparation, you can recognize rejection for what it is, not a judgment of your worth, but simply a mismatch of interest or time. The calm confidence this practice builds extends beyond dating, creating a foundation for emotional resilience throughout life. Amor Fati, embracing dating outcomes. Amor Fati, love of fate, is a powerful Stoic principle that goes beyond merely accepting outcomes. It means actively embracing them as exactly what should happen. In dating, this concept is transformative. Think about how most men respond when dating doesn't go their way. She doesn't text back. She says she's not interested after the first date. She chooses someone else. The typical reaction is resistance, questioning what went wrong, replaying conversations, or feeling bitter about the rejection. This resistance creates emotional baggage that follows you into every new interaction. When you practice Amor Fati, everything shifts. That text she never responded to? Instead of checking your phone anxiously, you embrace it. This is exactly what should happen for both of us. Just as we accept a rainy day during a road trip as part of the journey's beauty rather than an inconvenience, we can embrace dating outcomes as perfect parts of our path. This mindset prevents becoming resentful or desperate when dating doesn't go as planned. You see rejection not as something that happened to you, but as something that happened for you. It recognizes that every outcome serves your growth in some way, whether revealing your attachment to validation or freeing you to find someone more compatible. Try this practice after your next dating experience. Ask yourself, how is this outcome actually perfect for my growth? This perspective keeps you from dwelling on rejections that most men obsess over. Each interaction becomes its own complete experience with valuable lessons. You take what matters and move forward without carrying the weight. Women have remarkable intuition. They sense when you're carrying baggage from past rejections. That heaviness creates a subtle desperation or guardedness that repels new connection. Though you might think you're hiding it well, that tension reveals itself through your words, body language and energy. Amor Fati creates a lightness and acceptance that makes you naturally more attractive. When you've truly embraced past dating experiences rather than resisting them, you bring refreshing openness to new connections. You're not secretly comparing her to your ex or anticipating disappointment. This principle applies powerfully to relationships that end as well. By embracing their conclusion, you grow instead of becoming bitter. You appreciate what the relationship taught you, rather than feeling like you wasted time. This allows you to bring your best self to future connection. The freedom of Amor Fati is profound. You can pursue women with enthusiasm, while remaining at peace with any outcome. You can be fully present without anxiety about specific results. You can express genuine interest without fear of devastation from rejection. This approach creates an authentic confidence that can't be faked. When you truly love whatever fate brings, whether it's a new relationship or another learning experience, you approach women from wholeness, not lack. Her response doesn't determine your worth or happiness. That self-assurance is magnetic in a way that pickup tactics never can be. Stoic confidence. Character over validation. Have you ever noticed how your confidence shifts based on how women respond to you? One day a woman smiles at you, and suddenly you feel on top of the world. The next day someone rejects you, and your confidence crumbles. This roller coaster happens because most men build their self-worth on shaky ground. External validation. Stoicism offers a different foundation for confidence. Instead of basing your worth on whether women find you attractive, Stoicism teaches that your worth comes from your character, your courage to face difficult situations, your sense of justice in how you treat others, your temperance in controlling impulses, your wisdom in making good decisions. These virtues form a foundation that no rejection can shake. Think about the last time you approached someone you were interested in. What made you nervous? For most men, the fear comes from wondering, will she like me? But when your confidence comes from character, the question changes to, am I acting with integrity? This small shift transforms how you come across. I remember coaching Alex, who constantly worried about impressing women with his job and status. After shifting to character-based confidence, he approached a woman at a coffee shop simply because he admired her focus while working. When she mentioned having a boyfriend, he genuinely wished her well and left. She later reached out, impressed by his authentic reaction to rejection. They became friends instead. Try this practice before your next date. Ask yourself, if this person rejects me, does that change my character or worth in any way? The answer is clearly no. Your character remains intact regardless of her response. This realization is freeing. When your confidence comes from within, women notice. There's a steadiness to your presence. You don't become overly excited when they show interest or devastated when they don't. This stability is rare and attractive. Many men try to fake confidence through accomplishments or status. But this performance-based confidence is exhausting and transparent. Women sense the difference between someone trying to impress them and someone who knows their own worth. Stoic confidence comes from knowing your values and living by them consistently. This authenticity creates a magnetic presence that manufactured confidence never can. Women are drawn to this stable confidence because it doesn't place the burden of validation on them. It removes pressure from interactions and creates space for genuine connection. This mindset eliminates neediness, the quality women consistently report as most repulsive in potential partner. When approaching a woman, your confidence comes from knowing you're acting with integrity, not from expecting her approval. The freedom this creates is remarkable. You can be fully yourself without trying to be what you think others want. You're simply you, the most attractive version of yourself, because it's the most authentic. This stoic confidence isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about finding a stable center within yourself that external circumstances can't easily shake. From this foundation, you can engage with women more genuinely and create authentic connections based on mutual interest rather than validation seeking. The virtue of patience, building without desperation. Patience isn't just a virtue in general life. It's specifically a stoic virtue that completely transforms your dating experience. Think about how most men approach dating. They meet a woman, immediately ask for her number, then push for a date, then rush physical escalation, all before establishing any real connection. Everything feels urgent and pressured. The Stoics understood something that modern dating advice often misses. They knew that good things develop at their natural pace. You can't force a seed to grow faster by pulling on it. You can only damage its potential. The same is true for connections with women. Temperance, one of the core Stoic virtues, is directly linked to patience. It's about moderation and self-control in all areas of life. In dating, this means taking a measured approach rather than rushing ahead based on physical attraction or emotional excitement. Next time you're talking with a woman you're interested in, try this practice. Ask yourself, am I rushing this because of my own insecurity, or am I allowing it to develop naturally? This simple question often reveals that our urgency comes from fear. Fear that she'll lose interest, fear that someone else will approach her, fear that we'll miss our chance. When you demonstrate patience in dating, women notice immediately. It signals confidence and emotional maturity that sets you apart. Your patience communicates that you value quality over speed, showing you're not desperate, that you have options, and that you're selective about who you spend time with. These qualities naturally attract others. I once worked with a client who had a pattern of pushing for commitment within the first few dates, only to find women pulling away. When he adopted a patient approach with a woman he met at a coffee shop, focusing on genuine conversation without agenda, something remarkable happened. Their connection deepened naturally over several casual meetings. 3 months later, she told him that his patience was precisely what made her feel safe enough to open up to him. Women feel safer with men who demonstrate patience. It shows you respect their boundaries and comfort level. It communicates that you see them as a person to connect with, not an objective to accomplish. This sense of safety is essential for any real connection to develop. The pressure from rushing causes many potentially good connections to fail. When you push too quickly, you create anxiety that makes natural connection impossible. By removing this pressure, you create space for authentic interest to grow, like giving a plant the right conditions to flourish without forcing it. For example, instead of approaching with the goal of getting her number immediately, focus on creating a genuine conversation first. If the connection is real, she'll want to give you her number. You won't need to push for it. Here's the paradox. By not rushing, you create stronger connections that often develop more quickly in the long run. When you allow things to unfold naturally, you build a foundation of trust that accelerates the development of real connection. Patience in dating isn't about being passive. It's about being present with each stage rather than always reaching for the next step. It's about enjoying the process of getting to know someone and creating conditions where real attraction can flourish naturally. Stoic conversation, purpose and attention. The Stoics understood something profound about conversation. Our words matter deeply. They believed that speech should be purposeful, truthful, and kind. When applied to dating, This principle completely transforms how you communicate with women. Think about your last conversation with someone you were attracted to. Were you speaking to impress her or to connect with her? Most men approach conversations as performances. They talk about their accomplishments, tell their best stories, and try to appear impressive. But this creates an artificial dynamic that women can sense immediately. A Stoic approach focuses on quality over quantity. It prioritizes the purpose behind your words. Are you speaking to build genuine understanding or just to fill silence? Are you sharing something meaningful or trying to make yourself look good? Try this practice. Before speaking, especially on dates, ask yourself, is what I'm about to say true, necessary, and kind? Does it contribute to connection? This quick internal filter transforms your conversation quality. It eliminates common mistakes, talking too much about yourself, trying to one-up her stories, or filling silence with nervous chatter. Speaking with purpose makes you more thoughtful and selective about your words. You communicate with intention rather than reaction or performance. This creates depth and authenticity that stands out amid superficial small talk. Consider this scenario. When she mentions her challenging week at work, the typical response might be, "Yeah, my week was crazy too. Let me tell you about this client situation." But a purposeful conversation sounds different. That sounds difficult. What was the most challenging part for you? Do you find yourself habitually steering conversations back to your experiences? The second part of Stoic conversation is equally important. Listening with full attention. How often do you find yourself planning your next response while she's still speaking? This divided attention is obvious to women, even when you think you're hiding it well. Stoic listening means being fully present with her words. It means letting go of your internal dialogue and truly absorbing what she's saying. It means responding to what she actually said, not what you assumed she meant. Women consistently report that being truly heard is both rare and incredibly attractive. When you listen with full attention, you make her feel valued beyond her appearance. You show interest in her thoughts and perspective. Instead of waiting for an opening to mention your recent promotion, ask thoughtful questions about something she shared. When she mentions loving a particular book, ask what she found meaningful about it. When she talks about her job, ask what she finds challenging or rewarding about it. The connection this creates is profound. Conversations transform from parallel monologues into genuine exploration. You're creating something new together through the exchange of ideas. When you combine purposeful speaking with attentive listening, you create conversations that women remember. In a world where most men are busy trying to impress, you stand out by being present, thoughtful, and genuinely interested. This reflects your character and value. Preferred indifference. Attraction without control. The Stoics had a fascinating concept called preferred indifference. Things we naturally desire, but shouldn't attach our happiness to. They categorized external things like wealth, health, and reputation this way. This concept applies perfectly to attraction and dating. Think about what typically happens when a man feels strong attraction to a specific woman. He becomes fixated. He checks his phone constantly for her texts. He cancels plans with friends if she becomes available. He starts imagining a future together after one good conversation. This attachment creates the neediness that ironically repels the very women these men desire most. The Stoic approach is different. Viewing attraction as a preferred indifferent means acknowledging, I naturally prefer this connection to develop, but I'm not controlled by that preference. You recognize the attraction as something positive, but you don't tie your emotional well-being to whether she reciprocates. Consider attraction like savoring a delicious meal. You can thoroughly enjoy every bite, appreciate the flavors and textures, yet not become distraught if the restaurant runs out of your favorite dish. You simply order something else and continue your evening. This is how Stoics view romantic connections, deeply enjoyable but not essential for happiness. When you feel that intense attraction beginning to take over your thoughts, try this practice. Remind yourself, This is a preferred, indifferent, nice if it happens, but not necessary for my well-being. Notice how this simple reminder creates space between your feelings of attraction and your sense of self. This mindset creates a relaxed energy that women find much more attractive than desperate pursuit. When you're emotionally independent, your conversation flows naturally. Your body language opens up. You listen better because you're present with her rather than anxiously planning your next words. Women have remarkable intuition for detecting when you've placed excessive importance on their response. They sense when your happiness depends on whether they text back or agree to another date. This creates pressure that makes most women uncomfortable. They feel responsible for your emotional state, a burden no one wants, especially with someone they've just met. By viewing attraction as a preferred, indifferent, you allow connections to develop naturally without the weight of desperate expectations. Instead of obsessing over whether she'll text back after your date, you continue living your life. Understanding her response is preferred but not essential. You go to the gym, meet friends, work on projects, genuinely hoping to hear from her, but remaining steady if you don't. The freedom this creates is powerful. You can fully appreciate women without becoming dependent on their validation. You can express genuine interest without the desperate energy of emotional dependence. You can feel disappointed if things don't work out without being devastated. This Stoic concept creates a foundation for dating with both enthusiasm and emotional stability. You pursue connections wholeheartedly, while maintaining your center regardless of outcomes, making you more attractive and creating a healthier relationship with dating itself. Practical wisdom. Stoic principles in action. All the Stoic principles we've discussed are powerful, but knowing when and how to apply them is where the real magic happens. This is what the Stoics called practical wisdom, or phronesis, the ability to take philosophical principles and use them effectively in real-world situations. Have you ever received great dating advice, but when the moment came to use it, you froze or forgot everything? This happens to almost every man. You might understand concepts like focusing on what you can control, practicing virtue, accepting impermanence, and maintaining tranquility. But when she doesn't text back, you still check your phone every 5 minutes. Practical wisdom bridges understanding Stoic principles and actually living them in your dating life. It develops the judgment to know which principle applies in each unique situation. Should you apply patience here, or does this moment call for courage? Should you accept this outcome, or is this a time to persevere? The most effective way to develop this wisdom is through reflection after dating interactions. Take a few minutes to ask yourself, which Stoic principles could I have applied better in that situation? Maybe you realize you were seeking validation instead of focusing on your character. Or perhaps you weren't fully present because you were worried about getting her number. I remember speaking with a client who kept getting friends. Through reflection, he realized he wasn't expressing genuine interest out of fear of rejection. By applying the Stoic principle of courage and focusing on what he could control, his next interaction led to a date because he stopped hiding his intention. This simple reflection builds practical wisdom over time. The principles become second nature. You recognize patterns in your behavior and make adjustments before problems arise. Your responses align with your values automatically. This approach offers flexibility. Unlike rigid dating systems with exact lines or moves, Stoic practical wisdom adapts to the individual woman and situation. Each person is unique, and practical wisdom helps you respond to that uniqueness. Women appreciate men who read social situations well and respond appropriately. Dating coach Blaine Anderson emphasizes this when she advises men to recognize signs of disinterest, such as body language that is not facing you, not asking questions, or blunt answers. The practically wise man notices these cues and can back off and find somebody who will show interest. There are times when patience is right, allowing a connection to develop naturally. Other times bold action is needed, expressing clear interest directly. Practical wisdom helps you recognize which principle serves the situation best. Each dating experience becomes a lesson that improves your judgment. Even experiences that don't work out become valuable teachers that strengthen your wisdom. Through practice and reflection, You'll respond more naturally to dating situations. The principles become part of who you are rather than ideas you're trying to remember. This authentic integration of wisdom into your character creates truly magnetic attraction. Overcoming fear of rejection. Rejection. The word alone makes most men's hearts race. But what if I told you that your view of rejection is completely backward? From a Stoic perspective, rejection isn't a painful judgment of your worth. It's simply neutral information, data points that help you navigate your dating life more effectively. Think about the last time a woman rejected you. Maybe she didn't give you her number, didn't respond to your text, or wasn't interested in a second date. Most men take these moments personally, seeing rejection as evidence they're not attractive enough, successful enough, or somehow fundamentally flawed. This interpretation creates fear that prevents approaching women or expressing genuine interest. The Stoics offer a liberating alternative. They understood that other people's opinions and responses exist outside your control. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about this, that the judgments and reactions of others should not disturb your inner peace. They're external events, and attaching your worth to things outside your control creates unnecessary suffering. When facing potential rejection, remind yourself, her response is about compatibility, not my worth as a person. This mental shift changes everything. If she's not interested, it means you two aren't a match. Valuable information that saves both time and energy. This perspective allows you to approach women with relaxed confidence, without rejection fear. You don't project nervous, desperate energy that women immediately detect. You become more authentic, present, and ironically, more attractive, while conventional advice focuses on avoiding rejection through techniques. Stoicism embraces rejection as feedback. Each instance teaches something if you're willing to learn, perhaps about conversation skills, timing, or simple incompatibility. Rejection becomes your teacher rather than your enemy. Research confirms that women respect men who handle rejection gracefully. This emotional maturity demonstrates strength of character in a world where many respond with anger or wounded pride. Responding to no with genuine understanding demonstrates rare emotional intelligence. The Stoic approach eliminates carrying rejection's weight into new interactions. When you respond to declined invitations with "I understand completely, it was nice talking with you," you maintain dignity while respecting her decision. This creates transformative freedom. You can approach anyone without the heavy burden of fear, express genuine interest without your happiness, depending on the outcome, and be yourself authentically. Dating coach Blaine Anderson notes, if a woman is genuinely interested, she will make an effort and make time. If she's not, that's completely fine. Her response doesn't define your worth, your character does. The Stoic path teaches us to transform rejection from a painful judgment into valuable information. By separating external responses from internal worth, you develop unshakable confidence that transcends any individual interaction. This calm dignity in the face of rejection becomes not just a dating strategy, but a philosophy for navigating life's inevitable disappointments with grace and wisdom. Choosing the right environment. When you approach dating from a Stoic perspective, the environments where you meet women become just as important as how you interact with them. Most men make a fundamental mistake. They try to meet women in places that don't align with who they truly are. Think about the typical advice: go to bars, hit the nightclubs. These environments often emphasize loud music, alcohol, and surface-level interactions. Hardly the ideal setting for showcasing your character or connecting with someone compatible. Stoicism offers a different approach. The philosophy emphasizes living according to nature, your nature, which means choosing environments where you naturally thrive. Instead of forcing yourself into uncomfortable situations where you can't be authentic, focus on places that align with your genuine interest and values. Morning fitness classes attract women who value discipline, health, and consistent effort, qualities that align perfectly with Stoic principles. In these settings, you're among people actively practicing the values you respect, creating an atmosphere where your authentic self emerges effortlessly. I spent years feeling awkward at clubs, one client shared. But at my rock climbing gym, conversations flow naturally because we already share a passion for challenge and growth. Run clubs offer similar benefit. The women you meet there have demonstrated commitment to their health and willingness to challenge themselves. Community service events connect you with people who prioritize contributing to something larger than themselves. Book discussions attract those who value learning and thoughtful conversation. The Stoic principle at work here is placing yourself in environments where virtue can be expressed naturally rather than forced. When you're engaged in activities you genuinely enjoy, your best qualities emerge without effort. You become confident, knowledgeable, and comfortable. All attractive qualities that radiate when you're in your element. Women you meet in these contexts see you engaged in something meaningful rather than obviously hunting for dates. This transforms how they perceive your interest when it does emerge. You become someone they've observed in a positive context, demonstrating values through actions rather than words. This approach eliminates a common dating mistake, trying to be someone you're not. Many men force themselves into environments that make them uncomfortable, or bring out their worst quality. When I started attending philosophy meetups instead of clubs, another member noted, I connected with women who appreciated my thoughtfulness instead of seeing it as a weakness. If you value learning and growth, a cooking class or language exchange will naturally connect you with women who share those values. The conversation flows easily because you already have a shared interest. The context provides natural topics that reveal genuine compatibility. The quality of connections this creates is superior. You meet women with compatible values in contexts that foster natural conversation. These connections have a stronger foundation from the start, because they're built on shared interests rather than just physical attraction. This Stoic approach means being intentional about environments. Focus on places where you can be authentic, where your values naturally express themselves, and where you'll meet women who appreciate those qualities. The connections you make will be more genuine, compatible, and ultimately fulfilling. Building chemistry and flirting. When it comes to flirting, most men fall into two problematic camps. Some become overly serious, treating conversations with women like job interviews. Others rely on memorized pickup lines they found online, creating interactions that feel rehearsed and artificial. Neither approach creates genuine chemistry. Stoicism offers a refreshing middle path. A Stoic approach to flirting balances playfulness with authenticity, being lighthearted while remaining true to yourself. This approach creates genuine connection through moments of playfulness and joy. Think about the last time you tried to flirt with someone you were attracted to. Were you focused on making her like you? Were you worried about saying the wrong thing? This mindset creates tension that prevents natural chemistry from developing. Instead, try this simple practice. Focus on bringing joy and positive energy to the interaction, rather than trying to make her like you. This shift in focus changes everything. When you're trying to make someone like you, you second-guess everything you say. You analyze her responses for signs of interest or rejection. You become self-conscious rather than present. But when your goal is simply to create an enjoyable interaction, regardless of outcome, you become more relaxed, more creative, and more attractive. The natural chemistry that emerges draws women in. Dating coach Blaine Anderson puts it perfectly. I teach men how to authentically market themselves so they can be who they are and still attract women that they're excited about. This authenticity is what makes Stoic flirting effective. Unlike manipulative techniques, Stoic flirting builds connection based on genuine interest. You respond naturally to the unique person in front of you, like a musician, improvising rather than reciting rehearsed notes. Each interaction flows with its own rhythm, creating moments that resonate with both of you. Women have remarkable intuition for detecting authenticity. They sense when your flirting comes from genuine enjoyment versus neediness. From her perspective, after experiencing countless men with hidden motives, your authentic playfulness feels refreshingly honest. This approach eliminates common mistakes. Stoic flirting finds the sweet spot, showing clear interest while maintaining respect and focusing on connection. Playful teasing works when it springs naturally from comfort rather than calculation. Noticing something unique about her, and gently teasing with a smile creates shared laughter. As Anderson notes, if you are genuinely being playful and lighthearted, you are not insulting her, but teasing her, which can create a deeper connection. The key word is genuine. If teasing doesn't feel natural to you, find your own authentic expression of playfulness that aligns with your personality. The connection created is both light and deep, playful on the surface, while building authentic understanding underneath. You're having fun together while also getting to know each other genuinely. This combination of depth and playfulness creates magnetic chemistry. By approaching flirting as an expression of your authentic self, rather than a performance, you allow real chemistry to develop naturally. Dating app challenges. Dating apps have transformed how we meet potential partners, but they've also created new challenges. As dating coach Blaine Anderson notes, the experience of swiping, chatting, and the potential for dates has become tiresome for many users. Most people I work with feel the same way, exhausted by dating apps despite the time they invest in them. The core problem lies in how most men approach these platforms. Typical male dating profiles feature carefully selected photos showing only their best angles, bios that exaggerate accomplishments, and personas created to maximize matches rather than find genuine connection. This approach might generate initial interest but creates problems during actual meetings. Stoicism offers a refreshing alternative. Focus on authentic self-presentation, where your profile truthfully represents who you are and what you value. This doesn't mean posting unflattering photos or listing your flaws. It means presenting your actual self rather than a manufactured version. When creating or updating your dating profile, apply these authenticity principles. Photos include images that genuinely reflect your lifestyle and interests, not just your best angles. Bio. Write about your actual passions and values rather than what you think will impress others. Messaging. Communicate in your natural voice instead of using rehearsed lines. Ask yourself with each element, does this accurately represent who I am and the connection I'm seeking? This question helps identify where you might be stretching the truth. This authenticity stands out immediately. Anderson highlights a significant issue: the prevalence of misrepresentation in profiles, where individuals often create personas that do not accurately reflect their true selves. When most profiles feature heavily edited photos and exaggerated descriptions, an authentic profile catches attention because it's rare. A Stoic approach focuses on quality connections with compatible women instead of maximizing matches through technique. Women consistently report appreciating profiles showing genuine character rather than surface-level attractiveness or status symbols. Consider Mark, one of my clients, who replaced his carefully posed gym selfies with casual photos of him cooking, his true passion, and hiking with friends. His match rate initially decreased, but the conversations he started became significantly more engaging and led to 3 promising dates in a month, more than he'd had in the previous 6 months combined. This approach eliminates one of the most common dating app mistakes: creating a persona you can't maintain when meeting in person. As Anderson notes, misrepresentation can result in disappointment and a lack of trust when users meet in person, as the online persona does not align with the actual individual. For your photos, Anderson suggests having a couple good photos that showcase your lifestyle. Include images that show your actual interests and daily life: cooking, hiking, or reading. The connections this creates are more meaningful even if fewer in number. By approaching dating apps with Stoic principles of honesty and authenticity, you transform a frustrating experience into an opportunity for genuine connection based on who you truly are. First date strategies. First dates make most men anxious. You've probably experienced this yourself. The worry about saying the right things, wearing the right clothes, choosing the right restaurant. This anxiety comes from approaching first dates with the wrong mindset. You're focused on performing well enough to earn a second date, rather than discovering if you actually connect with this person. A Stoic approach to first dates shifts the entire experience. Instead of seeing the date as a performance where you need to impress, view it as an opportunity for genuine connection. Your goal is to discover if you genuinely enjoy each other's company. Many men treat first dates like interviews, rehearsing answers, concealing flaws, and marketing their best attributes. This creates tension instead of connection. Consider James, who recently abandoned his interview approach for a more authentic one. On his date with Sarah, rather than reciting prepared achievements, he simply engaged in genuine conversation. Both left feeling they'd truly met a real person, not a polished facade. Stoicism offers this grounded approach through a simple mental checklist. 1. Am I being authentic right now? Am I truly present in this moment? 3. Am I listening to understand or waiting to impress? 4. Are my responses genuine or calculated? 5. Am I enjoying myself or performing? These mental check-ins bring you back to authenticity whenever you notice yourself slipping into performance mode. When anxiety rises, pause briefly and return to these reminders. This presence creates distinctly different energy. When you focus on the moment rather than securing another date, you naturally create a relaxed atmosphere. Your listening improves because you're genuinely interested in learning about her. Your sharing becomes more authentic because you're not filtering everything through the lens of impression management. Stoic dating favors simplicity over elaborate plans. Choose settings where conversation can flourish: a quiet coffee shop, a park walk, or a casual drink at a bar with reasonable noise levels. These environments keep the focus on connection rather than distraction. Dating coach Blaine Anderson confirms that women typically value a man's presence, genuineness, and authenticity over elaborate date activities. She recommends keeping first dates casual and low commitment, suggesting that a brief informal setting, such as a quick drink or a walk, is an effective way to gauge the vibe and assess compatibility. This approach reduces pressure and creates space for natural connection. When you implement this Stoic mindset, common first date problems disappear. You'll maintain balanced conversation because you're genuinely interested in mutual discovery. Your questions flow naturally from curiosity rather than an interview script. Your nervousness diminishes as your focus shifts from future outcomes to present experience. Choosing a simple coffee or walk allows for real conversation where you can hear each other, maintain eye contact, and focus on connection. This creates authenticity because you learn whether you genuinely enjoy each other's company. You both get to be yourselves rather than carefully managed versions, building a foundation based on reality rather than performance. Post-date follow-up. The moment after your date ends is when most men sabotage themselves. You've just spent a few hours having a great conversation, but now you're stuck in your head wondering, how long should I wait before texting her? 1 day, 3 days. This overthinking comes from outdated advice suggesting you need to play games to create attraction. A Stoic approach cuts through these games with refreshing clarity. Instead of calculating the perfect time to message her, focus on honest communication. If you enjoyed the date and want to see her again, simply express that. No strategy, no manipulation, just straightforward interest. Many men handle this situation poorly. Some wait days to message, hoping to appear busy. Others send vague texts like "we should do this again sometime" that fail to communicate clear interest. Both approaches create confusion rather than connection. Stoicism values truth in all communications. After a good date, send a message that honestly expresses your experience. For example, "I really enjoyed our conversation about your travels in Japan. I'd love to hear more about it. Are you free for dinner next Friday?" This message accomplishes 3 important things. It references something specific from your conversation, clearly states your interest, and suggests a specific next step. Women consistently find this directness refreshing. They're tired of deciphering cryptic messages or waiting days wondering if you'll reach out. Dating coach Blaine Anderson confirms that clear, honest communication after a first date is vastly preferred over strategic gameplay. Traditional dating advice often encourages appearing unavailable to increase perceived value. This contradicts Stoic principles. Stoic communication transparently expresses your interest without being overwhelming. You're stating what's true for you without attachment to the outcome. Women appreciate knowing where they stand. When you communicate clearly, she doesn't have to guess about your level of interest. This creates a foundation of honest communication from the start. Even if she's not interested in another date, your directness allows for a clear response rather than painful uncertainty. This approach eliminates a common dating mistake, trying to seem less interested than you actually are. Many men worry that showing genuine interest will make them appear desperate. There's a significant difference between expressing honest interest and needy desperation. The first is attractive, the second isn't. Mention something specific you discuss. If she talked about her passion for rock climbing, reference that. If you had a spirited debate about movies, bring that up. These references demonstrate that you were listening, not just going through the motion. By establishing honest communication from the beginning, you set the tone for an authentic connection. No strategic games, no calculated delays, just two people expressing genuine interest in getting to know each other better. As Anderson points out, if a woman is truly interested, she will make an effort in return. If she's not, accepting that outcome with equanimity is the Stoic approach. Your worth doesn't depend on her response. Understanding interest and rejection. Reading signals from women is something most men struggle with. We tend to fall into two opposite traps. Either we interpret basic politeness as romantic interest, or we miss clear signs that she's attracted to us because we're afraid of rejection. Both mistakes cause unnecessary frustration and wasted opportunities. The Stoic approach offers a better way. Instead of projecting your hopes or fears onto a situation, focus on seeing reality clearly. This means observing her actual behavior rather than interpreting everything through your emotional filters. Think of dating interactions like reading a book. Many men judge the story by the cover alone, making assumptions based on surface-level politeness. Others refuse to read obvious plot developments because they fear a disappointing ending. The Stoic learns to actually read the pages in front of him. Here's a practical exercise. Create a 2-column list after your next interaction. In the first column, write down what she said. In the second, record exactly what she did. Did she maintain eye contact? Did she find reasons to extend the conversation? Did she create opportunities for future interactions? The second column reveals the actual story, while the first might just be the polite cover. When you observe reality without emotional filters, you make better decisions. You won't waste time pursuing women who have shown clear disinterest, and you'll recognize genuine attraction from women whose signals you might have dismissed out of fear. Many pickup artists encourage persistence regardless of a woman's signals, framing rejection as a temporary obstacle. This approach disrespects both her communication and your dignity. The Stoic perspective recognizes that respecting someone's signals demonstrates integrity. Dating coach Blaine Anderson points out specific signals of disinterest: avoiding eye contact, not encouraging conversation, or consistently looking away. When you notice these patterns, it's time to respectfully move on. Women consistently appreciate men who can read social cues and respect their signals. When you demonstrate this ability, you stand out positively among men who misinterpret basic politeness or refuse to accept disinterest. This approach eliminates the painful cycle many men experience: chasing uninterested women, facing rejection, feeling worse, and becoming more desperate. For instance, if she consistently responds to your messages with brief, delayed replies, accept this information rather than making excuses. Instead of thinking she must be busy, recognize the pattern as a lack of genuine interest. Anderson suggests giving someone one more chance if they're consistently unavailable, but then moving on. This isn't giving up, it's respecting both her communication and your dignity. The wisdom this creates is powerful. You learn to invest energy in connections with genuine potential rather than wishful thinking. Your dating life becomes more satisfying because you're engaging with reality, wasting less time on dead-end pursuits while recognizing real opportunity. Universal attractive traits. When most men think about becoming more attractive, they focus on the wrong things. They hit the gym to build muscle, work overtime for a nicer car, or study pickup lines to sound clever. While there's nothing wrong with improving your appearance or finances, these external qualities aren't what create lasting attraction. They're just the surface level, and they're not even the most important part. Stoicism offers a completely different approach. Instead of chasing external improvements, the Stoics identified character virtues as universally attractive qualities. These transcend cultural trends, age differences, and superficial preferences. While fashion changes and status symbols come and go, character traits have remained attractive for thousands of years. Most men miss this entirely. They spend hours in the gym, but zero time developing patience. They invest in expensive clothes, but neglect their integrity. They practice pickup lines, but never work on becoming truly present in conversation. This misplaced focus explains why many outwardly successful men still struggle with creating genuine connection. The Stoics identified 4 cardinal virtues that form an attractive character foundation: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. In practice, these virtues create a compelling personal narrative that women notice immediately. Imagine a man who demonstrates courage by being vulnerable, rather than hiding behind perfectionism. He admits when he doesn't know something and expresses genuine interest without pretending to be disinterested. This same man shows justice by treating everyone respectfully, servers, friends, and romantic interests alike. His temperance appears through emotional self-regulation, handling disappointment gracefully, enjoying himself without excess, and expressing interest without neediness. His wisdom emerges as he reflects on past relationships, learns from mistakes, and makes thoughtful decisions. Dating coach Blaine Anderson confirms this approach, noting that beyond physical appearance, women are attracted to personality traits and overall value. Humor is an important one for me. Just being fun to be around, I think, is really underrated, she explains. She emphasizes that openness and vulnerability, when expressed authentically, demonstrate confidence and create deeper connections. These character virtues can't be faked. That's their power. You might pretend to be rich for a night, but you can't fake integrity or emotional stability for long. These qualities must be developed through consistent practice and genuine self-improvement. Attraction this creates goes beyond initial interest. It forms the foundation for lasting connection, because it's based on who you are, rather than what you have or how you look. As your appearance changes with age and circumstances shift throughout life, these character virtues remain. Remember that developing these virtues isn't primarily about attracting others, it's about becoming your best self. The increased attraction is a natural side effect of genuine character development. When you focus on building these internal qualities, you become attractive in a way that no gym membership or pickup technique could ever achieve. Dating as a learnable skill. One of the most liberating ideas in Stoicism is that dating, like any other skill, can be learned and improved over time. This goes against what most men believe about their ability to connect with women. You've probably noticed 2 common mindsets. Some men think they're naturally good with women. They were born with it, and either you have it or you don't. Others believe they're permanently disadvantaged. They weren't blessed with good looks or natural charm, so they'll always struggle. Both of these beliefs are harmful because they prevent growth. The Stoic approach is different. It recognizes that your dating skills aren't fixed, but can improve through reflection, adjustment, and practice. This perspective shifts dating from something that happens to you into something you actively participate in and develop. It gives you agency instead of leaving you at the mercy of luck or genetics. Think of dating like learning to play guitar or mastering basketball. No one expects to play Hendrix-level solos or sink three-pointers consistently without practice. Dating works the same way. Stoicism emphasizes improvement through honest self-assessment. After each interaction with a woman, whether it's an approach, a date, or a text conversation, take a few minutes to reflect. Ask yourself, what went well? What could I improve? Which Stoic principles could I apply better next time? This reflection doesn't need to be formal. A quiet moment of honest consideration is enough. Maybe you noticed you talked too much because you were nervous. Perhaps you weren't fully present because you were worried about getting her number, or you recognized that you took her response personally when it had nothing to do with your worth. Each interaction becomes valuable, whether it leads to a relationship or not. Rejections transform into teachers rather than painful experiences. Over time, you'll recognize patterns in your behavior and make adjustments before problems arise. Unlike pickup techniques promising quick results through manipulation, this Stoic approach builds authentic skills for genuine connection. You're developing your character and communication abilities, becoming a better version of yourself rather than pretending to be someone else. Women appreciate men who actively work to understand themselves and grow. This quality demonstrates emotional intelligence and maturity. It shows you're invested in personal growth, rather than expecting others to accommodate your flaws. If you notice you talk excessively when nervous, practice better listening on your next date. Set an intention to ask thoughtful questions and fully hear her responses. This small adjustment can dramatically improve your conversation. The growth is sustainable because it's based on genuine development. Each interaction becomes a learning opportunity that improves your ability to create authentic connections. These skills serve you in all relationships, not just romantic ones. Remember that small improvements compound over time. Like a musician practicing scales daily or an athlete refining their technique, your dating skills grow with each mindful interaction. Your next conversation is your next opportunity to grow. Are you ready to reflect on ramping up?